All right, Garrett Blevins here with Form Assessment Saturday. For those of you who are continuing to submit videos, YouTube is a really good way to do it. It is far better than sending me the video files right now. So if you can send them to me on YouTube, that's the best way to do it. First, we've got, I believe it's Wouter. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. So we got a max out on a squat. That's one of the warm-ups. I saw some forward lean there. Excuse me. That might be an issue as you were descending. Just seemed like the bar was getting out a little bit in front of you as you were going down. Glad you left the walkout in here. I was wondering about that on the first video. Walkout looks very solid, so I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about there. I notice, yeah. Yeah, I think you've got a thumbless grip going on here. I'm trying to identify it. From this, it looks like your thumb is wrapped over the bar. You may be doing that because of mobility issues, but one thing I've noticed about that is it can often lead to the elbows rising backwards if the thumb is over the bar, which can also lead to some forward lean in the squat as well as some rounding in the back. So unless you have to go thumbless, I would not go thumbless. I'm going to back this up and play this just a little bit slower. As you descend in the squat, you do a good job, though, of breaking at the knees and the hips. I like how you approach the hole. As you come up, you just get a little bit of that forward lean. You got to keep fighting to maintain that upright torso position. But you do a good job of keeping your knees forward. I mean, for such a heavy rep, for it to be, RP9, it's jumping off your back. You're accelerating through well. I think pause squats would be helpful more than anything else as you continue working, and making sure that as you come out of the hole with a pause squat that you maintain the right torso angle. You're keeping a rigid spine, which is good, and your bracing looks to be expanding down here deep into your belt as well. Your belt isn't cinched in like too tight or anything like that. Looks pretty good. So you're doing a lot of things right. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit to right here where you start the descent. Knees and hips look good. Just watch the bar path as it goes down. You're going to notice that bar move forward just a little bit. But you do a good job of grinding through the rep. I mean, the bar is a little bit out in front of you, but it's not a lot. This looks overall very good. Going to see if there's any other angle in here that maybe gives us any more insight. My opinion, this rep looked even better. I know you're moving up and you're kind of maxing out for the day, but I think this rep actually looks cleaner. You do a better job of maintaining that upright torso angle. This downward head position where you look at your feet can sometimes compromise your upper back. However, here it seems that you're maintaining a pretty good neutral spine throughout. So you're doing a lot of things right. I like what I'm seeing here so far. And you'll notice you stay tight through that lift much better, and you move through the sticking point much smoother on this rep than the previous one. Let's see here. We got a couple of videos here. I'm kind of interested. Yeah, see, I think you maybe could have kept fighting it. Are we going to get... I don't know if we get a success on 160 or not. After the 155, I would have advised you to call it a day. Yeah, at this point, you're tired. So it's really just that same issue. There you went a little deeper. You tried to hit the hole a little bit harder, get a little more stretch reflex. But honestly, your best rep is here with this 155 where you push through. But that was an RP10. I understand wanting to go a little heavier, but this was a good lift and would have been a great third attempt selection. All right, next we got the shirtless, very tight shorts bench from Judah. All right. Congratulations, Judah, on your confidence with your body. So that's the first greatest thing to a bench press, so you got that down. Also, you mentioned that this is about 96% of your best, I believe, which is very solid. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say about your bench. Let me slow this down just a bit. A couple of things. You've got this real extreme arch, but you seem to manage it well. You get your butt down to the bench well. You touch and you maintain tightness well. Your elbow to wrist relationship is maintained well. The bar comes back as you're locking out the weight well. Your wrist is a little soft, but not too much. And I think it's working for you also well. So overall, good bench press, great outfit, awesome job there as well. So I honestly, I wish I had more for you. The only thing I would say is make sure that you're getting your glutes on the bench and not just your hamstring. You can get dinged or red lighted for an issue like that. So make sure you're getting your butt down to the bench. However, very solid setup, very solid bench press as well. Okay, so next up we got, let's start here with Anson. And let me adjust the size of the video here. And we'll pull this out to the side. All right, excellent. All right, so first thing I'm noticing is I've talked about this a little bit about maintaining a forward lean at the beginning of the squat. You are maintaining a little bit too much forward lean. You want to stand a little bit more upright as you unrack the weight. So that's the first thing I notice here that you should be doing. Lock out those legs. Take your time when you're coming back. Don't just kind of, it almost felt like a stumbling back almost. So I'd like to see you slow down your walkout, and I'd like to see you get a little bit more erect. You're just a little too far forward here at the start. Depth is maybe questionable here. Let me go back and pause it right at. Yeah, I think depth is something you're going to want to continue to work on. For those of you out there, the keyboard warriors of the world, the above angle squat video angle where your camera is above your knee height wise, that makes it very difficult to tell depth. So this is close. I don't think you're super high or anything like that, but I would say that's something to watch for. So far, you're maintaining a good torso angle here, but it looks like you're getting a little bit of space from your belt, where it's much tighter up here at the top of your back and looser down here. That might be something to look at just with how you wear your belt. Check your federation's rules on manipulation with your belts, and if you can shave off some inside pieces to help that fit a little bit more snug. Very explosive on the way up, though. Depth is probably my biggest concern, and that walkout. The rep itself looks very good, and you maintain a good bar path. Just watch the bar as it goes down, bar as it comes up. It looks very solid overall. So as far as what I can tell from this angle, things look pretty good. I would just say get that walkout a little bit more under control and stand up a little bit more erect before initiating the squat. But just a little bit. You don't have to stand all the way, bolt upright or anything. All right, next video is from Wouter. We've seen Wouter before, but he got 2 videos in early and quick. So those who request videos, they are coming in a sequential order, will be rewarded. Walkout's pretty solid. I would like to see just a hair more of a pause and a little bit more bracing before you start. You may have not seen my review of your first video before submitting this one. But again, you're kind of descending quickly. I'd like to see a little bit more focus on breathing and getting your air in here. However, this is a pretty good angle. You can tell there's a slight forward angle in the torso, but he's still very upright and maintaining kind of that weight on his spine. Very solid form. Depth is a little hard to tell because the weight gets in the way at the bottom. I think it's there. It's right at if it's not there. A lot of times you can tell as well by how much the hamstring is contacting the calf there. Very good bar path, solid set. I just would say work on your bracing. That'll come into play with heavier weights. Make sure when you're at the top, before you start the set, you take your time to get that weight settled and you get in your air. But other than that, looks good. And our final video for the day is Victor. Pull this up here. It's over here. All right. So Victor, first thing I notice is you're kind of looking down to make sure your feet are evenly spaced, but this is creating a pretty good round in your upper back. That's one of those things that I worry about, and it gets harder to correct from that the heavier the weight gets. I get the feeling that with this high bar position, you're going to be able to pull those elbows underneath before you start the rep, but that's something you would want to get rid of. Also, not a huge fan of these belts. If you can get a different belt, as soon as you can do that, do that. Get one that's an actual powerlifting belt that's even throughout. Notice your back is in a better position here than when you started in the video. Over here, oh, a little further, there. This position is a compromised position, and it's going to be hard to recover from um, as the weight gets heavier. Good job grinding through that rep. Maintain pretty good positioning overall. Bar path looks solid. I'm seeing a little bit of forward motion, but not a lot, especially for how you're pushing through. Depth is on point. Very good. So the biggest thing that I would say is I think you could get a lot better leverage on this bar if it was about half an inch lower on your body. You've got really good shoulder mobility already. Your hands are in close. I would like to see a lower bar position. It doesn't have to be like a full low bar all the way resting on rear delts or anything, but I think bringing this bar a little bit lower could help you out with your leverages. Depth is good though. Let me check one more thing. Right now I'm just trying to check your knees. It's a little tough from this angle, but I want to see if there's any knee valgus on this final rep. But from what I could tell, it looked pretty solid. A little bit. You're correct though, and you get that knee back out and you finish the rep. If you watch this leg, you'll see kind of how when you're at your weakest point, it's collapsed in just a little bit. It's not a huge collapse or anything, but as you get that leg out, you're able to finish the rep. Really good for doing really a 5-rep max. Solid performance. I would just say work on your setup. Don't get that rounding over in your back at the beginning, and then continue up with the hard work. Get a new belt if you can. And maybe mess around with a slightly lower bar position. But overall, Victor, this looks real good. Anyways, that is Form Assessment Saturday. If you enjoy these, leave a like. If you've got any comments, go ahead and put those below. And if you're interested in getting this every week for one lift, that is what the guided programming service that I offer includes. So you'll have something very similar to this available to you where you will get your video reviewed every week. If you want to wait to have it for free, you can wait for me to get through these videos. Right now we have about 30 in the queue, so it'll take a little while to get to any new videos. And again, if you're submitting those videos, make sure you submit a YouTube link. Those are the easiest for me to work with right now. In any case, I hope wherever you're at, you're doing well. Blessings.